Now we're going to do the leg press. I was reading an article the other day, and the article was entitled, Is the Leg Press Useless? I didn't even have to read the rest of the article. I mean, come on, this thing is unbelievable. What's really great about it is you're simulating a squat, and it takes the balancing out of the movement, right? I can change my feet positioning midway through the exercise, right, without taking too much risk. I can sort of put the weight, or let the weight sit at any given time in any different part of my leg that I want to, by also using my mind and my body positioning and posture. So to think that this exercise is useless is absolutely preposterous. You can actually build a tremendous physique with this exercise alone. And so in my last video, I spoke a little bit about how if you put your feet together, it will work more of the inside of the leg, and if you put your feet wider apart, it will work the outside of your leg. And a few folks said, no, Vic, I think it's the other way around. Well, what's amazing about this exercise is that you can deploy this energy of this exercise into any part of your leg that you want. So when I train my clients and I say, would you like to work the inside of your leg? And they say yes, and I put my feet close together. Not one client has ever said, boy, I don't feel the inside of my leg, and I feel the outside. And then when I've told my clients to put their feet wider apart and let's focus on the outside of the quad, not one of my clients has said, I actually feel it on the inside. A lot has to do with foot positioning, and these are the subtleties of bodybuilding. So let's cover all the bases, okay? In fact, I just trained somebody a little while ago and I told them to put their feet close together and focus on this part of their leg, and that's really all they felt. So let's cover all the bases and say that we should do a variety of this exercise. Feet close together, feet wider apart. Now, the toe positioning has a lot to do with this also, and then how high or how low you put your feet on the platform has a lot to do with where the exercise is going to hit. If I put my feet lower on the platform, I'm actually going to feel it more on the inside of my leg. If I put my feet higher, I'm actually going to feel it more in the glutes and in the rear and in the outside a little bit. So not only do we have a vertical foot positioning, we have a horizontal foot positioning, and then we also have toe positioning. Are the toes straight or are they pointed out? So what you have to do is you have to find your own way. I feel this exercise in a very holistic way when I put my feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed out slightly this way. It puts me in the position to either feel it in the outside of my legs or the inside of my legs. If you're going to do only one series of sets, you want to do it with your feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed slightly outward. If you really wanted to feel the inside of your leg, which I think a lot of people were referring to, not only could you put your feet close together and deploy the energy straight from the foot into this part of the quad, but you can actually take your feet, put them wide apart, and then turn the toes slightly outward. And that will put a different spin on where this exercise is going to hit. But I'm also going to show you one other technique. So we've beat that up and down, north, south, east, west, toes out, toes in, toes straight, whatever. The other thing that I want to point out here is a way to do this exercise to really feel this completely in the quads, much more than you feel it when you're doing just the up and down. I'm going to show you. When you come down, you lower it with your quads. You don't just let it drop. You lower it with your quads. You find a spot that you feel a lot of tension. Hold it there for an instant. Then you thrust 1 or 2 or 3 inches, just a thrust. Halt the thrust and then push in a very measured way throughout the rest of the repetition, and you don't want to lock out. So I want you to try this. You bring the weights down, stop, thrust, and then move slowly throughout the rest of the repetition. So a couple of reps just like that, and you're not going to believe what this feels like. Thrust the weight up, stop the thrust without actually kind of halt with a complete halt. You want to keep it pushing and then nice and slow and ease through the rest of the exercise, never locking out. That keeps the tension on the quads. I'll show you a couple more times in case I didn't explain the heck out of it already. Lower the weights, thrust, and then move smoothly throughout the rest of the exercise. Lower them down in a very measured way, thrust, and then move them in a very measured way throughout the rest of the repetition. Guys, I'm already tired. Just did a demo with no weights. I think that this is a great tool. Never discount this tool and say that squats are the end-all, be-all, and this doesn't mean anything. Especially if you have some issues with lower back, you have some issues with balance, this is your leg savior. I think you're going to really have a fun time playing with all of the directions on this exercise.